Hello lovely viewers, welcome once again to our cooking channel, Cooking with Ava. Today I'm going to be making some guinea fowl stew, but I'm going to be using gravy as well, and I'm going to make the gravy from scratch. And this gravy recipe, the difference is that for this one I used frozen tomatoes. Now usually for us the working folks or for the busy folks, even the we are home, and then sometimes pressures and all those ones. When tomato come in season, it's always good to preserve it in the freezer. When it's out of season, you can just use it up. So this is one way to prepare your gravy, especially when you're doing a large stock of gravy or when you're using frozen tomatoes in there. So if you've not yet liked, subscribed, please do so and support us by sharing and watching as many few videos as possible. We've got over 100 videos here for you to watch. So what I begin by doing is to blend up everything I'm going to use. So I blend the onion, pepper, ginger, garlic, and yes, for the frozen tomatoes, unfortunately, pardon me, thought I was recording, but I realized it wasn't recording. So do pardon me for that. But then when you take your tomatoes out, what you could do is that you just put it in water for the ice to go off a little bit. Then you can cut it. It's going to have ice in there. Don't worry. Once your blender is good, you can just place it in there and you can blend. When you blend, it looks thicker and it looks finer. So obviously, I'm just going to cook this over the fire for it to thicken and for all the water to go away. And I added in my Prekese as well, which is going to work on the aromatics and then the flavor as well. And it adds its own health benefits to it. So yes, this is one way to work with frozen vegetables like for your gravy. And you need to cook this till all the water drains. Yes, this is what makes gravy work. But once you get this done, you are virtually done. So once my tomatoes are well drained and it's pureed and thickened, I'm just going to let it cool. And you see, like the water has significantly reduced. And look how from where it was, it's dropped to like 1/3 of it. It's because it went into the freezer and there was already ice in there. Now, I'm just going to fry my onions for my oil to just heat up, and then I'm going to add in my tin tomato. I did this style because people have asked me, how do you introduce your tin tomatoes in your gravy? You could do it after you introduce your tomatoes with onions, pepper, and ginger, or you can decide to fry it up a little bit, especially these days where some of our tomato mix come very watery. Yes, so these days sometimes you buy some tomato mix and then they're a bit watery. So what you could do is you could just fry this up first before you add in the cooked onion, pepper, ginger, garlic, tomato base we have there. If I was doing a very large stock, what I usually do fry first is my onion blend. That's when the tomatoes are a lot. So I just do just the tomatoes and I blend the onion and pepper and ginger and garlic separate. But in this video, I blended them together. So I just fried just the tin tomato before I introduced a whole batch into it. And once you fry and then the bubbles go down, it means it's virtually done. So you add in the tomato base in there. One thing about tin tomato is that because of the cornstarch in, if you are mixing and you don't mix, if you add it in or if you introduce it and you don't do well to stir frequently, it's going to stick to your pan. So whenever you're doing gravy, trust me, you can use fresh tomatoes and it's not going to stick much. But once tin tomato, your tomato mix or tomato paste goes in, because of the cornstarch, you'd have to be stirring it often. So when it's done, I just add in a bit of salt and I'm going to add in my local spice blend, which I'm going to share in the description button below. And of course, I'm just going to mix it all up and allow it to form beautifully. This is one simple way of going about your gravy, especially for the working class and the busy people. And when you're done, you can put this into bowls and freeze it up for your jollofs, for your stews, and it's a serious lifesaver. For my guinea fowl, I'm going to season the old-fashioned way. I'm going to use my salt, my onion, my spice mix, and of course a bit of garlic in there. So what I do is to first this fresh guinea fowl, but then I'm just going to wash it up and then arrange it in my cooking pan. Then I'm just going to pour everything onto it, the onion, with the seasoning, with the salt, with the garlic, everything goes into it. And then I add in a lot of water. Now, guinea fowl, especially if it's from the northern part of Ghana, is always tougher. It's harder than chicken. It's like you using a hard chicken, like the broiler kind of chicken. I think the layers are those who lay eggs, so they are softer. So I think that's the broiler kind of chicken. So when you're using hard chicken or you're using guinea fowl, this is how to go about seasoning it. The onion is going to give it that sweet flavor. The spice is going to check the flavoring as well for you. And you need to use as much water as possible to season it to soften the meat. Else you're going to have very hard meat to chew. And what I do is I'm going to use the stock in the stew. But for the main guinea fowl, I arrange it in my frying pan with just a little bit of oil to fry. Usually what happens is sometimes I just do deep frying, then I change the oil, or I put the oil away, then I just use the gravy with the guinea fowl. But this is another way to go about it, especially when your gravy doesn't really have oil. Like the gravy I did, you realize my oil was so less because I was trying to check the oil usage and intake. So if your gravy has less oil like mine, this is one way to go about it. If pan fry just a little, because it's already cooked. It's already cooked meat. So you can decide to fry or not fry. But I realize when you fry it up, it also gives it a nicer look and taste as well. Then I add in my gravy, I add in my stock from the rest of the seasoning around the chicken when I cooked it up. I'm just going to let this be on fire for just a short while. Don't forget the gravy is cooked. Don't forget the guinea fowl is cooked. So I'm just bringing them together for their marriage ceremony. Yeah, this is a simple guinea fowl or hard chicken recipe stew you can do at home. And yes, my little boy, whenever he sees me with guinea fowl, he just asks me, "Are you going to do guinea fowl stew?" Yes, so try out my guinea fowl stew. Let me see how it goes. Give me your comment, feedback, suggestions. Lots of love for my team and I. Till I see you in the next food video. Live life to the fullest. Be joyous, be merry. Lots of love for my team and I. Mwah.